All right, we are back. Aria and Dax here from Next-Gen Nutrition. We're going to talk today about some common weight loss mistakes that we see, both in people who are new to losing weight or people who have maybe done a few diets a few times and maybe fallen off the rails, become unmotivated, and also people who have taken it that step further in terms of like jumping on stage and competing. So if anyone doesn't know, Dax has not only done diets for everyday people, he's also done multiple diets for people jumping on stage at high level bodybuilding physique competitions as well. So I just wanted to basically tap in and ask you, Dax, where did you start? How did you start it? And what are some of the wins that you've had along the way?
That was a great introduction. Thank you.
It's all right.
One of the best, actually. Well, I started lifting weights when I was probably around 14. And while I was playing footy, I literally just did it to try and put on size for footy because I was always a short dude. So I tried to get as thick and round as possible. And then once I got to about 17 or 18, I decided to take it pretty seriously and competed at my first bodybuilding show at 19. And I feel like back then no one really around the coast had much idea about what the hell bodybuilding was. They knew obviously like overseas and stuff like that, but like Arnold Schwarzenegger, pretty cliche, but so it was a pretty random, but I fell in love with it and competed it and ended up doing really well in the juniors when I was actually a teen. So that's when I started doing it myself. And I competed. I like to play with things with my hand.
It's going to be a bang having
it. Bang. I competed till I was about 26, and I was still prepping people while I was competing. And then I found it really hard to try and do both because anybody that's competed before will know how dedicated you have to be and to a degree pretty selfish. So I didn't want to be selfish towards my clients. So I stopped bodybuilding and started prepping from, 26 onwards till now. Yeah, so like 10 years.
I remember back in the day, you were like literally probably one of the first in our sort of age group to go down that route, yeah?
Yeah.
Like out of your friends, you're probably the first to do it. And I remember back then when I didn't even know you, people would say, "Oh, this Dax guy, he competes and stuff." I remember looking at your photos on those first few comps in the bright pink,
purple.
No, the pink one.
No,
purple and pink. Yeah. And I was like, far out. Look at the size of this dude. He's shredded. And I was like, fuck, this is insane. So that transition of where you went from competing yourself to then training and dieting others down for competition. Did you have many clients at the start, or was it?
Not really. I had probably I would say like a handful, maybe 3 or 4. But each year I did it, it just like got crazy. Me and Barb Greentree, she and Carrie they're the OGs of bodybuilding on the coast. Anyone that's lived on the coast and knows about bodybuilding knows who Barb and Carrie are. So they taught me a lot of things when I was younger. So me and Barb started like a team together, and then each year just grew like from 4 people to 1 year we had like 35 people, and it was.
I remember when you'd pose in that
we had a studio in Terrigal,
and it wasn't that big. It was probably not much bigger than this back room, like a couple more. And I remember seeing that first photo where there was like 30 of them lined up trying to pose in there.
Yeah, it got insane. We're prepping like, and anyone that's been to a bodybuilding show knows how ridiculous it is. Like it's like in the way that it's so full on, and there's people running everywhere. There's fucking tan everywhere. Everyone's eating this random shit, and then like you're pumping up people. People are walking around like naked. It's quite a scene. So it's like as if you're going to be able to prep yourself and do that at the same time. And then like it just grew from there. It got massive. There was no chance I was ever going to compete again if I was to do that. And it just grew and grew. And like I love the sport. I always loved the sport. I still train most days, 5 days a week at least, and follow bodybuilding and live and breathe it still. Not don't compete, and I will probably never compete again.
I was about to ask you, will the trunks ever come out again?
No. I don't feel the need. And
Okay.
I feel like there's way more important things to me. Well, there is. I know there's way more important things to me than how they get on stage.
Yeah.
But I'm still prepping people.
Yeah.
Only a small handful. And I've got some really good competitors getting on stage in the next month or so.
Mm-hmm.
And I just can't wait to see them up there. Got a young kid, and then at 18, and they've got a guy that's nearly 50,
Mm-hmm.
and the bloke at 50's insane.
That's
Scott,
yeah?
ridiculous
Yeah,
shape. Like everyone goes, he looks good for 50. I said, bro, he looks good.
Yeah,
in
he
general,
just
like
looks
if you
good,
look
yeah.
like that,
Yeah.
you'd just like
He's leaner than a lot of the younger guys. That
he will do
yeah.
amazing. He's a legend, and he's dedicated to it. So
Well, I think that's what I want to touch on next. So the dedication aspect of it. So for people that are new to it, like, you've got to get into a pretty monotonous, repetitive, dark kind of place to get in that kind of shape. Like if you're falling behind, if you're say 4 weeks out and you're still looking 8 weeks out, you've got to sort of step it up a further level. And it comes to the point where it's not healthy. It's not a healthy way to get your body to this. It's not a way to keep pushing your body, doing hours and hours in cardio if you're falling behind. So explain to someone that doesn't know. So say there was someone who was competing, they've been dieting for 14 weeks, they're a little bit behind, the show's in maybe 4 weeks. What have they got to do then? Where does it go?
well, I guess depends like if you've got a coach or not.
Yeah.
If someone was to come to me and I wasn't prepping them and they were 4 weeks out and they said, how do you think I look? And this has happened a million times. People have gone, they come to me at like 5 weeks, 4 weeks out, and they're like, what do you reckon? I'm like, I can't perform a miracle.
Yeah.
But what I see is the biggest problem is, I'll say how much cardio you're doing, show me what food you're eating, and how much sleep are you getting. And it can go two ways. There can be someone that's like, this is what I'm eating. And you're like, okay, is that what you're really eating? Yeah, most days. And you're like, okay, so you're not eating foods. Like, you're eating too much foods. You're not burning enough calories. You're not in shape. Like, you probably shouldn't get on stage in 5 weeks. But if you want to give it a crack, then this is what you need to do. You need to make sure that you're burning more calories than you're consuming, which is the most basic way of losing body fat or weight in general, right? And or if someone has been sticking, this is actually probably more common now because people have gone bananas in bodybuilding. Like you see over the years, people are leaner and leaner and leaner. It's crazy, and it's like they'll come to me and they'll show, this is what I'm eating. And I'm like, wow, that's really low. Like, you're having like 1,600 calories. This is enough. This is a guy that's 90 kilos in shape. And how much hours you sleeping? Oh, bro, like 3. Like, and that's the biggest. You need to probably have more food, get more sleep, and then you watch your body transform. Like, your body fat will come down, your cortisol will lower, you'll lose all that water, and that's when your body will start processing properly, and you'll get in better shape. But literally, if you look like you're not going to be on stage in 4 weeks, like you shouldn't be, then you probably shouldn't be.
Yeah.
So that's where like if someone was to get ready for a show for the first time, I would always suggest finding a coach, because that is, and someone that knows what they're talking about, not someone that's just
done one show
show or. No, so if they've done one show, went all the way through and won the Olympia, then yeah, they probably sound like they're all right. But if someone's just done one show, they placed okay, and then the next year they're a coach, where we see all the time, you need years behind you. This is just my opinion. You've been in the trenches, know what it feels like, and then go with a coach like that.
I think a lot of what I see, a lot of people like the idea of jumping on stage and competing, but when it gets to those last few weeks, and say you do, like even Mike, for instance, I'm going to pull him out. That guy's in really good shape pretty much all year round. Like all year round, he's got abs. All year round, he's vascular. But even for someone that lean, he was still doing a bucket load of cardio to get in even more shape towards the end of that last prep he did.
Yeah.
Like on the stepper and then walking. And then I think a lot of people just don't put in that extra effort, which gets you those. I mean, at the end of the day, you're trying to get as lean as possible. I'm talking bodybuilding here. You're trying to get as lean as possible, and to get there, you've got to do some pretty fucked up things.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, and you know what? Most of the time, you're not going to get enough sleep because you go to bed starving. You've just done an hour cardio and you've had a glass of water and I'm going to bed. And then you're sitting there all night going, my metabolism. Right, and that's the difference. That's the difference between someone that looks like Mike and then someone that plays really at the other end of the scale. They got up and ate a box of muesli bars, and I've done that before, getting ready for a show. But that's the difference. Mike didn't, and he sat there starving for the rest of the night. So yes, bodybuilding to me, it can be done healthier. But it's realistically not that healthy. No. It's not for your body.
And especially when you get into that next level, like the IFBB level, there's another array of things that come into it in terms of PEDs and
absolutely. If you go down that road, then you need there's another way you need to do that.
Yeah.
Doctors, etc. But in general, like you're basically pushing your body towards a point that it's not meant to be.
Yep.
And it's definitely not sustainable.
Yep.
And I'm not trying to turn people off competing because, like, if you want to compete, give it a crack, but just make sure that when you finish, you do the right steps to get your body healthy.
Well, this is the thing I was going to go to next, and you're touching on exactly what I want to talk about next each time, which is good. Post-comp mindset. Yeah. A lot of people post-comp can fall into this mindset of depression and body images because they can't maintain that, if it might be 5% body fat, which it realistically isn't maintainable for 99.9% of people in the population. So you've probably seen it through some of your clients in the past where they've gotten really lean, then maybe 2-3 weeks post show they've blown out a bit and they become depressed and whatever it might be. So have you seen something like that happen, and how do they deal with it? How do you deal with it as a coach?
That's what we call the post-comp blues. And I've seen heaps of it. And mostly with the females, because the girls will get themselves again, like as long as you have a good coach and you do the work, they get themselves in really good shape. And then that's what will happen. Like, you can't maintain it, and you've been thinking about all these foods for weeks. So you let loose after a show, right? And what happens, then I'm going to start again on Tuesday. I'm going to start again on Wednesday. Then before you know it, you're gone.
Man,
right?
I was guilty as that after.
Yeah, and you know what? Like, it's your first show. Everybody does it. Yeah. Me and Mike bought $300 worth of cereal cakes and ice cream after one show. We both passed out on the couch in our undies, each different couch, like an absolute mess of just sugar crap. Like, we felt shit for days. Our ankles blew out. Like, it was terrible. You know what I mean? But but that's the thing. And I say mostly with females because that compete and even if they do the proper things right, and they reverse diet correctly, their hormones are still most likely going to be out of whack.
That's another
thing.
So
and the hormones, if your hormones aren't regulating properly, we're not going to get scientific here because we're not scientists, and if they're not regulating properly, then you're going to store more fat and water, and most likely a lot of the females will lose their period during prep, and it takes couple of months to get it back, depending how low they get in body fat. And they look back at photos and they're like, oh, what happened? And realistically, they're still in great shape. They're about 3 kilos heavier. They look fantastic.
Sometimes they look even better.
If you saw them in the gym or walking down the street at Terrigal, whatever, you'd still go, whoa, that's an amazing shape. But in their head, they're so used to have this little tiny waist, this and that, which is not maintainable. So you have to be ready for that, to realize that you're not going to look like that all year round. There is, like we spoke about this before, there is freaks that can stay like that. And that's, the majority of us can't. I try and stay in good shape all year round. I do my best, but never how I looked on stage leanness. You know what I mean?
Again, it's got to be maintainable.
It's got to
getting into that shape isn't maintained. You're probably doing hours of cardio.
Yeah.
Like on bucket, like fuck all calories, training your ass off. Like, It's not something you can do all the time.
And the whole time, if you've got like a partner, you haven't gone out to the movies, you haven't gone out to dinner, you haven't gone on a holiday, and you now want to go on holiday with your partner, go to the movies, you want to have some popcorn, and you know what I mean? Shit like that. And you should after a show, but you've got to do it in a proper way. You can't, you know what I mean? So it's like, that's where things, it may sound silly, like those little things, but it's so true. Like, you know, you can't, because you become really selfish and everyone else's life.
Well, you kind of got to get selfish through that. Yeah, like,
you know what I mean?
Because even if you go to family gatherings and stuff, they're going to be like, oh, surely it won't matter if you just have a little bit of this or... And
my nan used to do it to me all the time. And I love that lady to death.
Yeah.
She's amazing. But it'd be like a week out from the show. And I didn't want to ever see her when I got to the point where I was super lean, because I'd walk in and she'd go, Daxy, what's happened to you? She'd look at my face, just look like a fish, cheekbone sucked in. She goes, can I make you a sandwich? And I'm like, no, I would love a ham sandwich. I'd have probably the loaf of white bread. But she goes, you look like you need a good feed. And that's the worst thing you can say to someone that's getting ready for a show. That you look small.
Oh.
But realistically, like, you know what I mean? You took your shirt off, you look heaps bigger because you're leaner, etc. But that's the thing. Yeah, there's no eating ham sandwiches like a week out from the show.
All right. So in saying all of that, if someone is looking to go down that route, I should say, of competing, what would be a few tips that you could give to them? Now, this is to cover both males and females.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. So, like I said before, these are just, like, we've just pointed out things that you should know before getting into that mindset of competing. We didn't try and turn you off competing, because I said it's a great sport, but you need to know, I feel people need to know before they jump into that. So, if you do decide you want to compete, you need to find a coach that has a good reputation.
I think that's important, because like even the top level guys, the Olympia guys, they all have coaches.
Yeah,
because
of course.
Going down that road, you can easily start to play mind games on yourself and go, oh, maybe I'm a bit too lean. Maybe I'm not lean enough. Do I need to do more cardio? Do I need more food? Like, it just takes the guesswork out of it.
Having a coach will take the guesswork out of it, and they should be able to tell you what you need to eat, when we need to make changes, what we need to do for your body. And then probably the most important thing, a good coach should be there on the day of the show. And you know what? Realistically, the amount of times I've been at shows and I have all my guys ready, all my girls getting ready, whatever, because I used to prep a lot of females, and I look over and I just see this guy standing there not knowing what's going on. And I'll be like, man, are you all right? And he's like, my coach couldn't make it today. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, they've been with you for like the last 15, 16 weeks, but the day of the show where you actually get to show what you've done.
Especially if it's your first show. Like,
if someone preps you and they don't turn up to your show, like, I feel like that's complete bullshit. It's a kick in the teeth. So find a coach that's going to be there with you the whole way, and you need to put all your trust in them, because everybody that's at the gym while you're getting ready for show suddenly becomes an IFBB expert, and they think they know everything, and they don't. So find a good coach. That's the most important thing, I think.
Tip number 2?
Find out what you want to do with the sport. Like, I guess, like what federations you want to go with. If you're just doing it for the fun of it and you want to see how you go, then that's great. If you're really trying to make a name in the sport, then you need to know where you want to head and what road you want to go down.
I think that's important too, because in these different federations, they have different categories, and within those categories, there's different posings, there's different body types that they look for. So it's super important that you pick a coach that aligns to that knows that, you know, IFBB is different to WBFF.
That's
or like whatever.
If you go to if you go to a coach and they've prepped a whole bunch of natural athletes for 10, 15, 20 years, whatever, and tell them that you want to go towards an IFBB or an ABBA show, and they've never prepped anyone for something like that, then I feel like you need another coach.
Yeah, definitely.
So find someone that covers all bases.
Yeah.
Or the federation that you want to work towards.
Yeah.
And like you said with opposing, absolutely. You need to if you put the groundwork in and find out what you want to do, where you want to compete, then you go to your coach and go, bang, there it is. Because realistically, if they've got a whole bunch of athletes and you I don't know what I want to do, and then they have to sit there and go through it, it's going to take so much more time. So have it in your head what you want to do with it.
Yep. And then the last point, I just want it to be more of like a mindset one. So say someone is about to compete, or maybe they're thinking about doing season B or whatever it might be. For that person starting, what would you say is the single most important piece of mindset, motivation, whatever it might be, that they could take on for that journey?
That's sort of a hard one, I guess, because everyone's different. So if someone's prepping for season B, it's coming up, or they're getting ready to do it.
Yeah.
Bit of mindset. What mindset should they be in?
Yeah, like how should they approach it? What would be one thing that you would say to sort of calm the nerves, maybe, or set them on the right track, or whatever it might be?
Okay. Yeah.
And you can talk from your experience. You don't have to think of something else, but like,
yeah. Oh, okay. I mean,
if someone could have said to you when you first started, this is the most important piece of advice that I could give you.
Yeah. Okay. Probably. Yeah. Okay. So going back to sort of what I just spoke about, a couple of the most important things, like my mate Ross said to me when I was younger, heaps younger, was like, listen to that one person that actually is going to take you into your show. That was probably one of the most important things ever. And it was to like just do it for yourself, not to please anybody else. So a lot of people want to compete because they want to look good photos for Instagram or social media, right? Not back then, because Instagram wasn't even a thing when
it was Facebook or MySpace,
Facebook.
probably.
But you know what I mean? Yeah.
But
then again, right, if you do want to compete because you want to look good for social media, then fucking cool, do that as well. But find why you want to compete. What do you want to get out of it? You know what I mean?
I think it's good. So you basically say, train as if you're going to get first place, but enjoy the process along the way, and, you know, document it, because how many times you've probably done it, you compete and you're already lean, you're taking photos, but you don't think you're lean enough. Then 12 weeks post-show, you look back and you go, oh, I actually look pretty good.
Yeah. And then years later, when you look at the photos again, you're like, fuck, I was in good shape.
Yeah. Cool, that's good. So I just want to flip it real quick on the other way. So someone who might be looking to start a diet, maybe they've fallen out of shape due to COVID. They don't want to jump on stage, but just your everyday person. And we basically just wanted to briefly touch on some ways that kind of person can achieve their goals, some hurdles they might face, and some of the things that they can do to stay on track. And I think the most important piece of advice that we could give to someone in that category is giving it enough time. A lot of people will start a diet, and then 2 weeks in, they'll give up on it because they haven't seen anything happen on the scales or in photos. And I think it's very important that, I mean, we see it all the time in the challenge. It's super important that you give these things enough time, let your body detox, let your hormones reset, let your sleep patterns increase, let your training get back on track. Those first 2 weeks, your body is going to be going through a lot of different things, and it might have some inflammation, which might make you hold water, which might increase the weight on the scales. Your sleep patterns might be out, so it's, again, going to raise your stress levels and your cortisol. Until your body can settle into a routine, you're probably not going to notice things, and that can usually take between 2 and 4 weeks sometimes. So realistically, if we push it straight for 4 weeks, then your diet essentially will start from week 4, and then you still need to give it probably another 8 weeks before you start to really get to where you want to get.
Yeah, give it time. It's like results aren't going to happen overnight, that's for sure. And
they're also not going to happen without putting in work. A lot of the times we see people either not 100% sticking to the diet. We see it all the time, you know, hey guys, I haven't been losing weight. What's going on? Okay, are you sticking to the diet? Oh, kinda. Well, okay, this is probably why you've kind of got somewhere, but you haven't got to where you want to be. Same with training. What training are you doing? Oh, I'm doing a little bit of weights. What cardio are you doing? I'm not really doing any cardio. Okay, well, why not? Like there's all these little things that people.
Because my watch said I'd done 20,000 steps. Seriously.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
can I just point that out?
Yeah,
Like,
you can. That's a valid point.
all right. And like I said, I know I keep saying this, but I don't want. I'm not saying this to have a go at anyone that wears an Apple Watch, because you've got an Apple Watch, yeah?
Yeah, I wore it like twice, but
yeah, cool.
Kinda got
And
over
it's
it.
good because it does your heart rate, checks your calories, sleep, etc. But I feel like if okay, let's put it this way, right? And not everyone wants to be Ronnie Coleman or Kev Laroni or Lee Priest. Sweet, whatever, or Dorian Yates. But do you think they got in shape to the point they did by an Apple Watch on their phone, like on an Apple Watch on their wrist? Like, you do the cardio, and whatever extra steps you do throughout the day is just an added bonus.
Well, I think it's what you're trying to say is there's different between doing a step and doing a effort on an incline treadmill or Stairmaster or whatever it might be.
It annoys me a little bit when if I was to prep someone and I'm like, did you get your cardio today? No, but I shoveled sand for 2 hours at work and my phone said I burnt 400 calories. That's sweet. That's work. Gives a shit. I ran around a warehouse and packed boxes for 10 hours, but still do the cardio.
And that's the other thing.
You can't go off that. Like, that annoys me. This is talking about people like that want to get the best results. Don't just go off this. Do the cardio, and whatever you've done throughout the day is an added bonus.
Well, yeah, like you said,
can't make up for a cheesecake later.
If it's your work, your body's already accustomed to it.
That's right.
You need to push it that little bit further. So stop making excuses. Do the work. Make the time. We've got so many. We've got like 1,000 challenges doing this 10-week challenge. A lot of them are getting up at like 3 a.m. in the morning because that's the only time they can train. That's the only time they can fit in weights and cardio, and they're getting up and doing the work. And these people are the ones at the end of the 10 weeks that get the most insane results because they've done the work. Yeah. In saying that, it's important to do the work, but it's important to make it sustainable too. So don't think that, I can only get up at 3 a.m. to do the work. If that's not sustainable for 10 to 12 weeks, you need to find another way to do it, because you're not going to stick to it. And it's going to be another one of those diet and exercise programs which you just fall off. So make the diet and the training sustainable. Yeah,
that's it. Think long term. Because we're not talking about competing now. We're just talking about someone that wants to like lose some weight and get in shape. Another thing too, I want to touch on is like how much do you actually want the results? Like, are you willing to put the effort in?
Sometimes I find it's easier if you do it with someone to keep you accountable, because then you're kind of like, if he's doing it, I need to do it, otherwise I'm going to look like an idiot. You know what I mean?
I had a conversation with I'd say he's a good mate, he's a customer. I'm not mentioning his name. He probably watched this when we put it up, and he'll have a word to me. It's all right, we're good, we're sweet. And I'm really watching how he goes with this 10 weeks, and he's getting great results. And I sent him a message this morning. I said, man, I can't wait to see your end result photos, because I can't wait. Like, he looks great. He's done amazing. And I had a bad weekend. What happened? It was my 40th. Oh, sweet. How many days did you turn 40?
You're the most ruthless guy with this stuff, eh? I remember you roasted...
being realistic here, and he had a laugh too. And he was like, 3 days. That's he wrote back 3 days. And I just done that emoji. What do you mean? You ate shit for 3 days because it was your 40th? When I get to 40, I'm not telling anybody what I'm 40. Let alone go for 4 days eating bad shit. And if you're trying to get the results, it's only 10 weeks. I understand your birthday, have some cake, eat that day, whatever you need to do with your family, but don't go for the 3-day bender on it. That annoyed me this morning. I hope you watch this. I'm going to mention your name, but we can have words. He done a little giggle face after it. For you know that I'm pissed off at you for that, because I've put the time and effort in.
Well, that's the thing. If you're invested in someone, and
I'm invested in this guy. Trust me. We talk daily,
because you know the potential that person has, and you know if they just do it,
and he's an absolute champion. He's a legend of a guy. So basically, you want the results, do it. But, like I said, you're 40. If I understand, have a good meal, have a good lunch, go out with your family, go back on it the next day. He went for 3 days. It annoyed me. Thank you.
So whoever that guy is.
I've been sure that all morning.
This other point is, I should say, this next point is a direct opposite of what we were just talking about in terms of someone competing. So this is how someone feels versus how they look. So, and this statement is completely opposite for someone stepping on stage and someone just doing a general diet to be healthier, lose a bit of weight. Because the person stepping on stage is generally gonna look the best they ever have, but they're going to probably feel the shittest they ever have too. Whereas the person doing the everyday diet, if they've stuck to it and done the work, they'll probably be at a point where they feel really good and they look really good. Yep. And that's sustainable. So it's very important that if you are in this category of just doing an everyday diet, take note of your psychology as well. So if you're feeling really good, you're looking really good, you've got a great routine, your family life's better, your relationship's better, whatever it might be happy in that place and don't think that you have to keep pushing it to that next stage. Just be happy in that point, I think.
Yeah, that's right. So it's like that old saying, if you feel good, you feel good, you look good. Like it, or vice versa, look good, feel good. It's true. It's like if you're starting to feel really good about yourself because you're really noticing some changes in your body and your training, then you'll start feeling great. You'll start looking better. You'll start looking better because you'll be in like that positive mindset with it, you know what I mean? And I feel that's a great point to be at, a really good point. Competing
because everything around you just gets better too.
It does. You work. You focus more. You can concentrate at work. You know what I mean? Everything's running. You just feel good. You're at home doing those ones because your sex drive's through the roof. Like it's amazing. You compete. Fuck, sex drive's gone 8 weeks out. It's not to be seen again. So. You know what I mean? So it's, again, after the show, unless you're a freak. And then you're not going to feel your best because you're in like crazy low body fat percentage, but they look fucking amazing. So it's like, it's totally different. You know what I mean? But then again, like we said, there's those freaks that look like they should get on stage and are feeling sensational. But realistically, it's not the same. It's not everybody's like that. So yeah, there is two different ends of the scale. Find out what you want to do.
So I think this was awesome. This came out really good. Before we wrap it up, I think it's just after everything we spoke about, the main points to take away are to one, do the work, no matter if you're stepping on stage or just doing an everyday diet. And when I say do the work, it is training hard in the gym, it's sticking to your meal plan, it's making yourself accountable, setting a routine. It's all these little things that you're going to tick that are going to get you to that end goal. And I think approaching whatever you want to approach, whether it is an everyday diet or it is you stepping on stage, you have to approach it with the right mindset as well. So if you're stepping on stage, be aware that you're probably going to have to go to that place that, you're going to have to say no to events. You're going to have to do hours of cardio potentially. You're going to have to be training. There's going to be sacrifice that you're going to have to make in terms of getting on stage. If you're doing the everyday diet thing, there is some sacrifice you're going to have to make. Everyone still lives a life. You're going to go to work and there's going to be, I always see it in the group, those, someone has a birthday in the office and there's those Coles mud cakes and the Pringles and all that good stuff on the table. It's like, you're going to have to say no and stick to your diet and understand that once a week you can have a free meal, but for the majority of it, you need to stick to the plan.
I feel like too, when I competed, the many years that I did, especially the first time, after, I literally felt like I could conquer anything else. Like, literally, if you can stick to a diet and be that in the zone and committed to and get great results, everything after that becomes so much easier. So that's a massive positive of competing for me. I felt like I just grew mentally so much stronger when I finished shows.
I think something important too for maybe the younger guys who are looking to compete, go back and look at some of the older Olympia videos, like when Kevin Levrone was training or Dorian Yates. Look how hard those guys train. Look how much cardio they have to do. Look at the sacrifices they have to make in order to get in shape. And that's essentially, if you want to get into that crazy shape, you're going to have to get to that point. Like, I think now it's almost a different kind of era. Like, you're getting all these new guys coming in that are still working, but it's not that like like, look at Ronnie Coleman. He busted his ass, literally. Now he can't even walk.
Yeah.
But it took that to become the freakiest bodybuilder of all time.
Yeah,
Like,
it did.
it
did.
It's
and
like...
yeah, I know. And there's still some great bodybuilders from that era, and still healthy. They're still good. Dorian Yates.
That's the biggest thing.
He's healthy.
Yeah.
Like, you know, he's...
Jay Cutler, healthy.
Jay
like,
Cutler looks like he's 20.
Yeah.
He's had no Botox. But he's still healthy. And they trained...
Especially Dorian Yates.
Amazing.
Man,
it's funny because I get some younger kids come in and like, this is true up at Tuggerah. There's heaps of bodybuilders up at Tuggerah. Man, did you ever watch any videos on Dorian Yates? Oh, bro. Did I ever? I still do. Like, it's mad. And I think like a modern day Dorian Yates, to a degree, would be like Seth Feroci.
Yeah.
That dude trains hard.
Even now that he's sort of transitioned away from bodybuilding.
Yeah.
He's still training hard.
Yeah. He like,
functional and fuckable.
Yeah. Like he trains hard. He's got that machine. Got all the money, like a lot of. He's done very well with his business. Got some money behind.
But he's
him.
passionate. He's passionate,
but
man.
he still uses that piece of shit of a stepper from like 20 years ago.
Yeah,
Flogs himself on it. Like, it's amazing.
Yeah.
And if you don't get like pumped up from watching that stuff, like, you're kidding.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, yeah. Were you trying to say that you find that people that want to get to that point these days aren't training as hard?
Yeah,
it sounded like that's where you
just
didn't
like
get. You
I think
yourself.
no. I'm kind of I said it, but
it.
like I just want to make note that you see even like guys who are coming in. We've had guys in here that are like competing and like, how much cardio are you doing? Oh, I'm getting, like you said before, I'm doing 10,000 steps. I'm like, yeah, but it's not a step. Isn't the same as flogging yourself like on a Stairmaster. It's you know what I mean. Anyway, we could go down a rabbit hole on that.
Hey, a rabbit hole. It's just the truth. But they might watch this and actually go, yeah, you know, oh, fuck it, you're right.
Yeah.
Don't throw your Apple Watch out. We're not saying that Apple don't sue us. But, like, it's like...
You got to do the work.
Do the work.
Do the work.
100%.
Do the work. Well, I hope you guys have gotten something out of this. We're going to keep these things quite frequent. Start doing a lot more media. So, Dax, I just want to thank you on sharing your insights into that. And tune in to the next one.